And may we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And Chris, Lemmy, would you like to start, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Is there any additions, corrections, etc. to the July 5th, 2022 minutes? Anybody's knowledge? Okie dokie, may I entertain a motion to accept the minutes? Bill? And second by Ann? All in favor? Any opposed? Okie dokie, any abstinence? Good. Correspondence? Chris?
Correspondence, we got a bunch of different emails from Wyoming-Erie for general matters, and those refer to the treasurer. UBMD signed a MOU for the council is received. Mail from UBMD, a statement from M&T that was forwarded to the treasurer. Letter from Mike Shaw, letter of resignation due to appointment to UBMD EMS division. We got enforcement notifications to the New York State Department of Health, and again from Wyoming-Erie.
Okie dokie. Any comments on correspondence? Treasurer's report, Madonna?
Happy New Year, everyone. Did everyone receive the report? Needs a copy. I did make some. The only expenditures we've had, let's see. We're in the second quarter now. Or actually, we're in the third quarter. I'm sorry, we just completed the second quarter. So as you can see, the amount we spent to date is $5,512.91. Basically, attorney fees, monies to EMS, our quarterly payments, some supplies, and the awards that were paid for. Anybody have any questions on the expenditures?
Okay. May I entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Second? Tom? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, Madonna, the second half of your report.
Excuse me, we did, is that part of the treasurer's report?
Yeah, well, you
As far
know,
as
what you know as
the
treasurer.
signing of the contract.
Yeah.
I don't remember what date that was, but it has, the state contract has been signed for this fiscal year and the following. I believe it's for a 2-year period. Do you recall?
I don't know what they set you guys up with.
I believe it was for the next 2 years. And then, but the contract was signed, everything was submitted.
Does that go along with the state's fiscal year?
Ours is still
No,
July through June.
yeah,
July through June, okay.
yeah, they shifted out of the state's fiscal year
Okay.
back during COVID.
COVID, we had that 3-month extension that kind of changed it to July through June.
Okay, so we should be good through then June 30th of 2024, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Is it possible to get a copy of that circulated to members,
Sure.
please?
Don't look at
Thank
me.
you.
That's a good idea. And the claims for the first quarter have been submitted, and the second quarter will be going in for reimbursement.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, any other questions for Madonna? Okie dokie, we will move on. Medical Advisory Committee. It's usually Mr. Gill, ain't it? Okay. Anybody else with Medical Advisory Committee? Okie dokie. Anybody else with the New York State Council wish to comment or anything else? Because I know there's a few other individuals in here that attended.
Last meeting was in December. All of the subcommittees met. Systems was particularly busy. A lot of discussion at the legislative committee surrounding public meetings and public officers law, when we have to meet, how we have to be in person, what can be done by video, materials like that. As of the conclusion of the meeting, it's basically going to be a group appeal to try and allow for more remote participation, but acknowledging that currently there isn't really an option absent having multiple sites at which you have to have live participants. So
Okay, and it's due to open government law, correct?
public officials and, so public officials law and I can't remember what the other one was.
General construction, I think, isn't it?
That has some applicability for voting participation, but I don't remember exactly what the structure was.
Ah. Now you're on the floor, Mr. Gill. Okay, any questions for Brian over the over the Sunco? We'll also have Mr. Gill give his report too if he wishes. So what do you want to start with? You got like 14 things you can play with here, Mr. Gill. Medical advisory, state council, or Erie County?
Medical advisory, I wasn't at the last meeting. Were you
Okay.
here? No. I don't know if anybody has a summary on that. What else?
Okay, no, nobody else had anything in regards to medical advisory. Okay, what about Sunco? Brian talked about the fact that the systems was busy, legislative was busy, that there's a lot of talk in regards to attempting to make these meetings more accessible.
More accessible, yeah. I mean, I think we're all getting that same problem across the state, is attendance and quorums and stuff. So they're working hard now on that. They're working to create more money for education. The finance committee's been looking at the fact that the sponsors haven't had an increase in rates for 20-something years. So there's an assessment on that. Hopefully they're going to look at the fact that the way we're being reimbursed right now, you wait until an individual takes the test and it's 18 months or so. You don't never really know if it should be reimbursed. They're going to look at a different way to do that, which we'll see how that happens. But they're leaving that on some of the sponsors to make changes as to forcing folks to take the test. They were looking to also increase the amount of monies that go to the councils, because some councils utilize their full funding, some don't use their funding. And the question is, what can we actually use funding for, which would be helpful in helping us disperse some funds. So that was that's a conversation. There's still continues a push to make EMS an essential service. They feel that it's important that that happens. What comes with essential service, and I'm sure Brian can pick up on this, is what you make an essential service is a requirement in its funding. It becomes well-regulated, or well-regulated. And it could complicate, how provision service is done. There's actually a busy meeting, and you talk about the ceiling thing. You talk about the ceiling thing.
I just mentioned systems at CONs they handle.
They're working hard. There's a lot of good discussions. Somehow they mute me. I'm not sure how, but there's a lot of good discussion that's happening with that, which I'm happy with. But the next meeting is I think it's the first week in February 6th to 8th. So hopefully that'll continue.
Okay, good. What date is the next meeting, Greg? I'm sorry.
Well, it's actually 7th and 8th. Most people get there on the 6th to do their
Of this month or of next month?
February.
February, okay.
February.
Okay,
I'll be just getting off the cruise boat going down. So.
okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, and if you want to continue, any questions for Greg on the New York State Council? Okie dokie, if you want to continue with Erie County.
Erie County's fine time. We've been ahead well. As you know, everybody knows it's been pretty busy with the responses to the snowstorms and stuff. It's fortunately taken the focus off of COVID, having given a COVID vaccine in a week. So if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But there's a great cooperative effort particularly around the city of Buffalo, between DMR, Twin City, Lancaster, all the ambulance services coming together at a time of need, which was really nice. We sent out a request from surrounding counties for ambulance personnel, EMTs to send in. We tried not to pick on the counties that were also being hit by the snow. We had a fairly good response, a rapid response, which was nice. We also decided to activate the statewide mobilization plan, where we brought a number of ambulance services into the area from around the state to probably going to cost about $80,000. But they were exceptional. They were just kind of folded into the group and responded to a number of calls. They were here anywhere from 1 day to 5 days. So that was very helpful. And I haven't got the total. I was trying to figure out the totals of the number of calls and things like that throughout the city. Is the only thing I really have a grasp to. But I haven't been able to finalize the numbers plus the duplicate calls. But hopefully next meeting I'll have some kind of summary of types of calls, numbers of calls. And I gotta say, the crews, they did a good job. I mean, they kept working and working and working. And like I said, between the commercial services, the volunteer services, a lot of good work was done. And I didn't have an accident in this one.
That's good.
Last time.
I'm glad you saved the Erie County taxpayers some dollars.
Thank you, man.
Any other questions for Greg in regards to Erie County EMS? Okay, moving on, Mr. Straker, Mr. Bill Straker.
Yep, to hinge up what Greg was saying, Wyoming County did support the Erie County operations. Erie County obviously had to have 2 events, they can't just do 1 a year. So we deployed the assets, EMS and fire in November to that first one, and then in December as well. So everything worked out well. The process was pretty seamless. So that was good. And at times, we did get impacted to a small amount in Wyoming County over the northwestern area, 3 towns. So we were impacted slightly. More of traffic issues and accidents and tractor-trailer issues, but we got through it and we were still able to support them. We're still moving forward with a new look of a paramedic service in Wyoming County. We're looking March, April, hopefully go live with that. There's a lot of moving parts to get through on that. Again, assisting our volunteer agencies that have chosen to bill through the EMS recovery legislation. So it's quite a lift for a lot of different agencies, especially in the rural communities as well. We updated our mutual aid plan and submitted that for approval as well. Moving forward with that. We have had, over the last few months, some diversions at our hospital for multiple reasons, not necessarily because they were full, but at times that was some of the staffing issues. And also, we did realize during the Christmas snow event in Erie County, our intake was up because there were some agencies that obviously couldn't get in the city of Buffalo, and so they were heading to Wyoming County community to drop their patients out there. So, and a report.
Okay, any questions for Bill for Wyoming County report? Okay, thank you. Western New York Stress, anybody hear anything from anywhere there? Greg?
I didn't get a report on responses. I can only assume that they had some responses over the last couple of weeks, but I didn't get a report, sorry.
Okay, who do we contact for that?
Jim Rieger. I can send you his contact.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Committee reports. Budget, Adana.
I think the only thing I'd like to mention is, and you probably noticed in the treasurer's report, the contractual services were reduced some due to the amount of money for the contract, the decrease in the amount for the contract.
So what had happened is we had set everybody up with emails per the MOU. And during the process, we found out that because you guys are a not-for-profit, that it's free. So despite the fact that we allocated that money based on what we thought we were going to be expenditured that, we found out it was free, so we can't in good faith charge you guys. So we took the money out.
So now instead of the $2,200 that was previously or per quarter, it would be 1631 is what the amount is. So we'll have some extra monies there also at the end of the year. I think it's $6,524 as opposed to $8,800. So just to make you aware of that.
Okay, which then resulted in, I think, a third MOU being signed, Greg?
Yes.
Thank you for signing all those.
I didn't have an opportunity to get around him.
Yeah,
He cornered me.
you cornered Jim, that's good. We needed that. Okay, anything else, Madonna?
Not that I can think.
Any questions for Madonna? Okay, Ann, you're on for membership.
Okay, with Mike Shaw's resignation from the council, we can take, move an alternate up. And the next one would be Brian Goyette. He will move to a full position in Erie County. And to take up the vacant alternate position will be a Michael Hyde from Lancaster. He's a member at Twin City. He's a CIC for the CME Recerted Twins, Twin District, Bowmansville, and Millgrove, and LBAC, with 35 years of experience. And I have a membership application for Wyoming County, and that's a Robert Tarka, lives in Warsaw. And actually, he can introduce himself because he's sitting in front of me.
Robert Starker.
So he would be added to a full position in Wyoming County, which would give us 12 members, and Erie County would be the 13 members with 4 alternates, so that would be full. And I'd like to make a motion that we accept these changes.
Okay, you have a motion to accept the resignation of Mike Shaw, the movement of Brian Goyette from a alternate to a full membership, and the acceptance of a Michael Hyde from application to alternate, and the application of Robert Tatarkin, did I say it right? Tatarka, to a full membership for Wyoming County side. Second, did you get all that, Chris? Okay. We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okey dokey, that is all paid. Yes, Crystal?
I have to abstain. No vote.
Okay. That's okay. Sounds good. Okay, got that all done. Ann, do you want to bring up now in regards to our membership attendance, or?
I don't have the printout that I sent. That's waiting.
Okay,
What does the council want to do? Do they want a letter to go out to the people that?
well, we
have
just,
not
if you want, I
attendance?
can bring it up during executive board, or I can discuss it here right now, what we discussed at the executive board yesterday.
If you want.
Okay, so we did bring this up at executive board meeting, and if anybody, if I say something that wasn't said there, somebody correct me, please. And basically, we are concerned because of our inability, like Greg said, through the Sunco, that we're not the only council having problems getting attendance at these meetings, but there are numerous councils that are having trouble getting attendance. And we're also having troubles in some counties getting membership. One thing, now I'm preaching to the choir here, because the people that are here are pretty much the ones that are faithfully coming, etc. like that. We are wondering if what was discussed at executive board meeting, if maybe we should send out a questionnaire, like a monkey survey or something like that, and determine if this meeting night is bad, if it isn't bad, if there's a better meeting night, and of course, we all run numerous meetings. You know, I mean, Bill and I, well, I got 4 meetings this week, 5 if you want to count the Zoom meeting for the executive board. Bill's got, how many meetings this week. It's just crazy that we have all these meetings. But then, is any other day, time of the week better? And again, we don't want to conflict with Wyoming County EMS Council, because we're gonna be changing that meeting due to our medical director not being able to attend on the current meeting night, etc. What is your thoughts on this, or thoughts of getting better attendance? Yes, Mr. Gill?
I was pondering on all this on part of the day today. And we're looking at recruitment and retention for EMS, firefighters, and all that sort of stuff. I think what we have to do is look at recruitment and retention for the councils. I would wager that most people don't know that the council exists, that are in the EMS field, and they're certainly not going to come out to Wyoming-Erie, not Wyoming, but to South Wales to visit and see what it is. I think, one, we have to think about, it's going to complicate all our lives, right? Think about where we have the meetings, maybe have meetings throughout the 2 counties. It means that we're driving, we're going other places, but if they will come to the sideshow, then we have to get the sideshow out there, let people see what's going on. And make it a thing. We're going to come out to Warsaw and have a meeting out of Warsaw, publicize the area of Warsaw to the fire departments and stuff, talk to the council, at least see what's going on, and hopefully stir up some interest. I mean, that's just, again, it's just an idea. If they won't come to us, we can go to them and just try to, unless you think I'm wrong. I don't think people want to know that there's a council that exists.
Okay. What is the general thought in regards to date, time, and location currently from the people that are here? Because again, we got people coming, I mean, I'm at the far, so is Madonna, at the far southeastern end of Wyoming County. Heather comes from the far eastern end of Wyoming County, almost into Livingston County. Ryan's and Rob are coming from, the Netherlands up there in the north, next to the canal. So what is the thought process? What is the thing? Should we send out a survey monkey and then people can just answer, somewhat anonymously? We're not trying to put anybody on the line. We're just trying to assist us getting forums and having meetings. Yes, Don? Yeah, you're from the Netherlands of another land up there in an island all stuck in a river by itself.
It's almost Canadian.
Yeah.
One of our meetings last year, I think it was an executive meeting, we talked about, before we start advertising, we have to figure out what we actually do, since it seems like we don't really do anything anymore.
Right.
And I thought at one point we said we'd reach out to the state and see what the guidance was. And I know how years took out, it kind of probably fell on the wayside. But I think when before we start advertising, we have to advertise we have to actually think about what we do.
Okay.
It doesn't seem that clear.
I thought, didn't we talk about the leaders of the subcommittees doing a blurb for what their committee was responsible for?
Yes.
Remember that? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, list council duties.
But I mean, even if we travel, and he tells people to show up, what do we actually do besides go through minutes and talk about information? I don't know if somebody's going to be jumping down the door for that. And I know we were trying to think about what the state envisions us to do, since it seems like the state is trying to cut back a little bit on the councils. So.
Well, yeah, and that's been a threatening thing for quite a while now of the state.
Figure out the funding
Talking
issue,
about
and
counting
figure out
back.
what we could actually spend money on. So before we start saying, hey, join and how great we are, well, what are we great at actually doing?
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit better because there is a program agency cut down in the REMAC region. However, again, we're still at 2 program agencies, 3 different councils. And we're unique in that particular type of, setup. Correct? Okay. Anything else?
I think Greg's right. I think people don't know.
No.
I don't think they, I don't think they know that it exists. And I think the ones that hear about it sort of through the grapevine don't understand that they can come.
Mhm.
That this isn't a chief's meeting, or that it isn't something special and secret and whatever. And I know we go through the same thing with the EMS Council and of course up in Wyoming County. I talk to EMTs all the time. I don't know that.
Right. Well, and personally, I just come here to listen to Greg and Bill's reports, that's
Well,
all,
there you
because
go.
they're always entertaining.
Some Somebody's agreed with me and said I was entertaining. Doesn't happen.
Right, and I agree, and thank. Okay, well, you know, do you think like a survey would help? To the council members right now that are on the list.
I think that would help and identify, potential solutions, or, potentially if this night is good, it just doesn't work for everybody or the majority, and then also as far as the location, is there a central location that might fit people better? You move in one direction is gonna make it worse for others and vice versa.
Yes, Brian?
Always on the top of that.
Okay.
But
In terms of locations, I know that in the advanced class with virtual bridging from East Aurora to Wyoming County, that is allowed under the meetings law and public officers law, so long as we advertise both sites. Is that something that would be more convenient, having one
No,
site
it's
here in
not.
county and
It's
one?
up to the
Yeah,
advanced
I was
class.
gonna speak up if she didn't get for that.
Yep. Because what happens is you become a spectator to the meeting.
Yeah.
And you're not actively participating.
Would that be true if it weren't students, if it was like you in Wyoming County?
If I was on a Zoom individually, then no, then you would be able to participate as an individual. But as a group, in a group setting, it would be significantly difficult to, the technology just isn't there.
We're typing to them.
Right. And if they're talking, like we're talking right now, the other piece, they don't hear that. I mean, they hear me because I have a big mouth, but otherwise they don't, you don't have to agree.
I did.
Yeah, So it becomes more of more division, but I think if you're looking at something actionable to do, find out why your members aren't coming, the existing members, why aren't they coming, or why, is it a meeting issue or whatever, like she wants to do. Identify what it is you're actually doing, and then reach out and try to find your members.
I think that, to Don's point, we don't do anything.
Right, and I don't disagree. When we had the RFP process go, we were getting good attendance because there was something to do. And I was trying to get as much information as I could out at that point in time regarding the RFP. And then, of course, we got her all done. And again, as far as me being the chair running these meetings, if we're getting up and we're within a week and Chris doesn't know of anything, I don't know of anything, the new chair-elect doesn't know of anything, and nobody bothers to contact us, I'll be putting out there saying, we have no agenda. And we might as well just cancel the meeting, because I don't think that there's anything, and I'm looking at you, Brian, because you're the best at knowledge of this, but is there any requirement that we have to meet 6 times a year?
There's a requirement that we have to meet, I believe, at least 4 times a year, and
Okay.
that's our bylaws.
Okay, that's okay,
So that
okay,
would be quarterly.
yeah, so that would be quarterly.
That was gonna be my suggestion. Do we need to meet as many times if we don't have that much business to do?
And that's exactly what I'm gonna be going for,
So-
because I got other things to do in life. I don't know about the rest of you, but I got other things I can do in life, so.
I think, and people who have been around the council longer can answer this, but I think the reason for the schedule as it exists is there is a statutory requirement to act within certain time periods for certain things.
Correct.
So.
If we
CON
have
issues-
something.
CON issues, for example, have to be published in a certain time period, and the overall time frame is 60 days. So we're on a 60-day schedule, so if we receive something in the previous meeting, we have to have it in the next meeting. I'm assuming that's why the schedule exists the way it does, I don't know.
Because it fitted fairly well, but I mean, if we went 4 times a year, we just have to understand there might be an emergency meeting or an extra schedule.
And we can schedule that with enough notice and enough public notice, and I'm pretty sure the UBMD notification site for everything that you put out, that could act as a notification to at least the EMS community, and we post around a couple of places, I guess, for others, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we have an official quote-unquote newspaper, so.
We do, it's the Buffalo News.
Oh, the Buffalo News,
So we
okay.
have to provide notice to the Buffalo News, and we have to hang notice in at least 2 public locations. Those are the lobbies of any public building, so we can stick them up in post office.
Those are sent to, we never told anybody, but those are sent to Bill and I, and we put them up at the training academy in Cheektowaga, and you put it up at
Public safety.
Public Safety. So we have that established, that's been for a couple of years, so it's been established.
Okay, that's good.
I think one of the things we possibly could do, and, or we have Brian decide it from memory, I mean, we have to look at Article 30 and what our responsibilities are. For the most part, it's how to organize, what you're allowed to do, but we can enter the contracts, all that good stuff, we can be a business, is what it comes down to. There are some things in there that we've never really taken, grasp of, and that's reviewing plans, making recommendations for training and stuff like that. So there are some things we could possibly do. I think the change in the way they do training right now, it's all electronic. And so the old, looking at the yellow sheet and approving classes, that's not gonna happen. But we do have the rights to create a training plan, to review people's MCI plans if we want to get into that. But that's what if we're gonna do, we have to jump in. Well, we can't do it half-assed. But there are some things in Article 30, so I recommend, again, you can probably decide.
You're in the list. Basically, it's, Article 30 provides for identification and approval of need, identification and approval of training plans, approval of MCI plans, support to volunteer services,
Right.
Kind of administrative action stuff, general coordination of services within the region. And we can all go through Article 30, and honestly, you can look at our website, it's even coded out there what we're supposed to do. But we've employed largely a very reactive strategy. We wait for application on everything. We don't go out and ask any questions or try and get additional information. So we wait for people to come to us and not do outreach. So we could, as an organization, start cultivating outreach for each subcommittee, whatever that is. Rob certainly has the push tool available in terms of blast email. Maybe we should do that to at least just start advertising our meetings. Just sending our meeting notices out to the EMS community that way.
Already wrote it down.
So, Robert, make a motion that Rob does that.
I'll second that. Just to bring it up, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but if you look at the program for our awards, our responsibilities are listed on it. It's on the back. I don't think you've ever read it.
I've never even had one, so
No,
I should have
okay.
done that.
I just did that to remind us to let the people who do come forward, that we do have responsibilities.
And there's a ton of variation around the state in terms of what regional councils do and don't do. Some of them really act independently, some of them don't act at all, some of them act almost as, for lack of a better term, puppet for the Bureau of EMS. There's all kinds of variation around the state. It depends on the people who are on the council and how those things change. One of the things that really should be a guide to us, though, because it does come with deliverables and a contractual obligation, is the contract we just got signed. So getting that circulated to all the members and pulling from that the things that we absolutely have to do to meet our contractual obligations. Very important element of this.
That's what I was going to say, in addition to sending out the contract, I was just going through some previous emails, and when I was dealing with Lynn Ferrugia from the state, she also had sent some contract documents or guidance for the WEREMS girls and putting your budget, planning your budget, and also it included the roles and responsibilities of the regional EMS council. So I can send that out also, and it's basically what you had already mentioned or what's in Article 30, but maybe there's some ideas in there or some guidance that
So going back to the recruitment
I
retention,
can send that out also.
of us, I think that in order to instill some life back into the council, we look at what our responsibilities are. I think our next meeting, we probably plan to have a little planning session, or where do we want to go, what do you think we can accomplish? And, have our reports, we can even just forward our reports and some people can read them. So devote this time to try to figure out where we want the council to go and what we want to tackle. Not everything. I've done it too many times in my life and failed. I mean, let's find one or two things that are, really the council wants to get involved in.
Okay, Heather?
Once we do that, and we talk about advertising this to the public, why not put on there what our agenda is? Like a specific agenda that month or whatever, to add to whatever they're saying, and maybe they'll, okay, this is what they do whoever's interested in that agenda can come.
So Greg, are you offering then to chair this council?
Second, oh.
Look, I was weaseling out of this.
Here's the backup one.
Yeah,
I'll do whatever the chair. You want it when?
oh, in about 3 days will be good.
Okay. I think I got somebody. that can-
So anyways, and really, we used to have a, quote unquote, public relations committee,
And that was rolled into the awards committee.
the awards committee. Oh, see, there you go, you're already chairing it.
Can't even hang up.
How deeper do you want to step in, Greg?
I'll do whatever I can, but I'll ask for some help though.
Yeah, please do. Is there anybody that would like to help him in this, Don?
Nobody has to be put on the spot now, anybody can call them.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's something that we need to look at and we need to think about. I think I agree with Bill, and a survey monkey would be nice. I do not want to be the one to put together a survey monkey thing, because it's kind of like, it's something new I gotta learn to do, and I'm like, I have enough to learn and do. Is there somebody that would be willing to do a survey monkey and develop questions and such like that?
I think we should probably develop questions here, like what the point is, but in terms of.
Right,
in
that's what I
terms
would
of the
like to
actual
do.
tool-
That's what I've been kind of heading
In terms
towards,
of our actual
Brian.
tool, that's the program agency, right, that's what the relationship's for.
Okay,
One of the things to think about too, and hopefully I can be backed up on this, in the last couple of years, the state has been very tight on how the money was spent, and they weren't cooperative, they didn't answer questions and stuff like that. With some of the new folks that are in there right now, they're open to ideas, so we can float, if we have some ideas about improvement potential, stuff like that, and they're open to at least discussing that.
okay.
So it's a different group.
Okay, well, one of the things that has been new that's now in the deliverables is the fact that I have to meet, or the chair has to meet with the
Right.
program agency once a month. So we had the little meeting prior to, and Rob said that he was gonna look into and talk to the state representatives at the next meeting in regards to what can we spend money on, other than what we already know what we can spend money on. But then we're told we can spend money on that, and Madonna, correct me if I'm wrong, and then we're told, oh no, you can't spend money on that. Yeah.
I guess if you have certain documentation or maybe certain,
Wording,
pardon,
wording,
wording, yes.
yeah.
So-
And it's just
and-
like with every grant you get from the state, it's all in how you write it. And, again, I think the people right now are, they're much more agreeable. So, I don't know what
Hope you got a good insurance plan on that, Greg. Okay, anything else on this subject, or have we beat it to death enough? Okay, everybody get their brains going again, and we're gonna try to think and try to get something moving in this regard. And again, if you think you would like to be part of this or whatever, either to get a hold of Greg or get a hold of me or whatever, and we'll move it from there. Okey dokey? Okay. That was a long membership committee report there, Ann. Anything else, Ann?
No.
Any other questions for Ann? Okay, systems, Brian.
We received tonight a copy of Wyoming County's mutual aid plan, so I will be distributing that to committee members and coordinating a meeting for us to review and presumably approve. That's it.
Okay. Any questions? Okey dokey, training and education, Zani.
I have nothing to report.
Okey dokey. Any questions for Chris? No? Bylaws, Eric.
I sent out an email to the lawyer just before the holidays, and I got, still working on it, it should be ready soon, reply.
Okay. Do you need Kevin to get a little call or anything?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay. When did you have that draft that it got sent to Kevin?
Oh, shit. Now you're asking a lot.
No, don't do that here, because then we gotta clean it up.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, approximately? Last spring, summer?
When were we doing all the Zoom meetings?